Chag Sameach! I received this morning a WhatsApp video from my son in Israel, showing his daughter, my granddaughter, aged 6 years old, enjoying the fireworks and going, ooh, ah, as each one lit up the sky. And she was happy because it's Israel's birthday. And I thought to myself, it's wonderful that that's what she's thinking, because she is a child of this generation who has known nothing other than the state of Israel. And therefore she probably doesn't realize, and may never realize, what we're truly celebrating today. The transition of the Jewish world from before 1948 to after 1948. Perhaps the greatest transition in world history, but certainly in Jewish history. What we're celebrating today is not just that Israel thrives, that Israel strives, that Israel leads the world in high tech, that was held up as a model to the rest of the world in vaccinating its population, that struggles daily to achieve peace and a more perfect society, that has literally made the desert bloom. That's really not what we're celebrating today, although it's wonderful. What we're truly celebrating today perhaps can be understood by the choice of today's date for Yom HaAtzmaut. The 5th of Iyar, which actually is tomorrow, but we're bringing it one day forward because of Shabbat. The 5th of Iyar was not a day when Israel won the War of Independence. That took many, many months between the declaration of the state and the end of the war. It took 6,000 lives, 1% of the Israeli population. And we don't celebrate the end of the war. It's actually not our way to ever celebrate war, because war is always terrible no matter who wins. What happened on Yom HaAtzmaut, what happened on the 5th of Iyar, May the 13th, 1948, didn't actually change people's lives, because the fighting been going on, the fighting carried on. Israel was in a parlor state before and after. But nevertheless, it changed something unimaginable. When the British mandate ended, it was not guaranteed, it was not automatic that Ben-Gurion was going to stand up in that museum in Tel Aviv and read out that declaration. There were many, many pressures weighing on the provisional government saying, no, hold off. Indeed, America, Israel's strongest ally, said strongly, don't declare a state. Wait 3 months, let's see what happens. And the provisional government met and perhaps took, in a small group of 10 people, the most momentous decision ever. And they said, no, we're going to go ahead. And there were strategic and political and military reasons why they chose to go ahead at that moment, knowing nevertheless that they would suffer the onslaught of 5 Arab armies trying to destroy the state before it even began. But there was something greater still. I believe that what was going through the mind of Ben-Gurion and his colleagues at that moment was to say, enough. Enough of Jews living at the whim of other people. Enough of Jews being guests, and sometimes unwelcome guests, in other people's country. Enough of Jews standing on the margins of history, suffering the slings and arrows of whatever is thrown at them. On that day, the Jewish people bent the arc of history and became actors again on the world stage. And at that moment, with those words that the Prime Minister read out, Jews became masters of their own destiny once again. There was a long way to go. 74 years later, there is still a long way to go. But the transition from Jews on the fringe, from Jews begging other people for permission to live. That started to change at that moment. And today, we all live in a transformed world. A world where Jews have pride. A world where Jews have confidence. A world which today is festooned in blue and white as a mark of how we stand with the state and the people and the land of Israel. Because although we are here in Australia, it is also our land, our homeland. We have a country, a Jewish country. And so today we celebrate what a wonderful place Israel is. What a successful place Israel is. A society of which we can be so proud. But ultimately we celebrate that moment on a Friday afternoon in a museum in Tel Aviv, when Jews reclaimed history and said, enough of exile, enough of marginalization, enough of suffering. It is time to build our country. That is what we celebrate today. That is the journey that we are on, and that is our destiny. Chag Sameach.